So,
Hey Rick, don't be insulted, but I have to leave about 7:30. I've got to run an errand for my son and bring him up something in Manchester that he forgot. So it's not definitely not the talk. It's just I'm going to be there before 8. So I'm going to bail out probably about 7:30 or so.
okay. I don't know if we're gonna go quite as long tonight anyway, so that's fine.
Okay.
But
Good.
and you can anything you miss, this will be on that on our YouTube channel
Yep.
in the next day or two. So as
Okay.
soon as we get it to Matt, he'll put it on the YouTube channel.
Perfect. Okay. Thanks, Rick.
Yeah, so like I said, all right, Gary, you got anybody in the waiting room?
They're still popping in.
Okay, let me know when that stops.
Okay. I'll go on count of a minute. How's that? Nobody else
Okay.
comes in, we can go. Oh, one more. It's like the lightning rule. We start over.
Yeah.
Oh, another one. 4, 5, 4, 32. What would that be? Oh, that's Ben. I bet that's Benjamin. Yeah, it's still coming in, Rick.
Okay, good. Yeah, another good turnout tonight, over 60 so far. That's good. Guys never cease to amaze me. This is great. You guys really are stepping up, and I really appreciate that. All right, Gary, what do you think? Start it out?
Yeah, I mean, people come and they can watch it.
Yeah, you can just let them in.
Yeah,
Let's get it going. It's 7:03. So
yeah.
let's let her rip. Again, tonight we're gonna go a little more informal. I'm not gonna have a lot of like outline and bullet points and all that to throw up. I'm not gonna do that. We're gonna just chat and talk about this stuff in the order of operations it's gonna go. If you guys want to take notes or whatever, some of this stuff I'll be preaching to the choir. You guys, a lot of you will might know everything I say tonight and the expectations, but if they go unsaid and something's not right, then that's my fault that I didn't get that information to you. So I really want to make sure everybody has all the same information and we are all consistent on this. And that's the consistency is what we look for in umpiring in every
I
aspect.
think I'll
Okay.
hold on to it for now
So
then. But it is
let's start
a
off with the day.
puzzle piece to move around maybe
Can you mute mics,
potentially.
Gary?
Yeah, hold on. Sorry.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
I'll hold it for now then.
All right, we're good.
Okay, good. Uh, so let's start off. We're just going to take it in the order of operations. So you have a game, and you have a game assignment you're going to go to in a couple days. That's when you're going to want to reach out to the schools
Mhm.
and verify that the game is the time and the date and all is correct.
That's cool.
Gary, you got
Yep.
that?
All right.
Thank you.
Yep.
And um, you're gonna want to reach out to the school. The plate umpire's responsibility, if you're the plate umpire, is to reach out to the school a couple days before, verify all the information's correct. Okay, you can send them an email. Send them an
Hmm.
email a couple days before. That gives them plenty of time to get back to you. Verifying everything. I like to CC my partner when I send that email. That's a good idea. That he knows he's in the loop and everybody's in the loop. Then the day before, send a text or give your partner a call just to make sure that he got everything and you're all on the same page. And that's a good time to touch base with him on where you generally park, where you're gonna parked, what type of car you might have, so they can look for you, what time you're going to arrive, that nature. Some lot of times you're working with a guy you've worked with at that place before, and it's not a big issue, but make sure you know where you're going to park. So one guy's not parking in right field and the other guy in left field, and you wind up not seeing each other. So work that out. Um, okay. If you wake up in the morning and you realize you look at the weather report and the weather looks a little iffy for the day, you should really reach out to the school again sometime mid to late morning and just confirm that everything's still a go, what they're thinking, whatnot. Be the first to, if they haven't touched base with you, touch base with them and get that dialogue going so that they can text you or email you or call you and let you know of any updates so that they know you are possibly expecting that. So you should do that. Again, the plate umpire, and then communicate out from there. Um, Most of the time, everything's pretty good communication wise, and you shouldn't have too much problems. But if you do wind up heading to the field and the weather's still not great, and but they've said it's going to happen, and you get there, that's probably a good indication that you might want to get out of the car with your partner, head over to the field, take a look and see what the field looks like, see how if there's going to be a delay or anything of that nature. How you feel about the field conditions. Maybe walk around the infield and walk around the field just to check to make sure that things aren't going to need attention. And if they do, you're going to want to bring it to the home coach's attention, or if there's a site administrator there, and say, I've got some concerns with the field conditions. You guys want to get, some turfus on over here or turfus over there, and I'm looking and bring your phone with the radar and say, we're seeing there's going to be some extra shower activity here, maybe. Just be very proactive with that so everybody knows what's going on. So, and then once you decide, okay, we can make this field playable at this point, and they feel comfortable about starting the game, and you've done your due diligence, you've been proactive, let them know how you feel about the field, and they say, okay, we're going to start, you start. And then as soon as the conditions become unsafe, that's when you stop. Okay. Now, the conditions of being unsafe may be the field. It may be slippery. You see a few kids slip, fall down, or whatever. Then that's an indicator. It may be that it starts to rain again and the pitcher can't control the baseball. There's another indicator. A bat slips out of the hands of a batter. Another indicator. Those are all things that you want to just pay attention to keep the kids safe. Okay. Once the game gets started, now it's ultimately up to you to make sure that you are going to take your role and responsibility seriously for the safety of the players, the kids, and the students. Okay. So so then once you've got that all taken care of, and you're gonna um, so now we say, okay, now everything's good, the field's good, whatever. Okay, that wasn't an issue. And now we're going to go to the plate meeting. Now we had a plate meeting situation video a couple weeks ago that you guys watched. So if you want to review that, you can go back and review that. We're not going to go over all that again tonight. We've already talked about that. We've got it in the video archives on the YouTube channel. You guys can go and watch that if you want a refresher on that anytime. That's a good thing to use as far as the plate conference is concerned. So then, so now one of the things somebody asked me to talk about is a management of lineup cards and the managing your lineup cards and how you deal with changes and deal with such. Okay. Your line when you get the lineup card, You want to verify that all the players are on there, okay? And all the coaches, assistant coaches, and all names are on there as well. That's very important. Now, keep in mind in Federation, if someone comes after and you want to add them to the lineup card, that's acceptable. That's okay. So the rule says they all need to be listed, but that doesn't mean nobody can be, that doesn't mean that people can't be added. They can be added after. And they come in from a whatever and they add them to the bottom to the lineup card. That's acceptable. That's okay. So we'll get them on the lineup card and available to play. Uh, now, I'm going to stop there and ask in general. We're going to show a video here in a minute about the DH rule because I think it's very important in your dealing with the lineup card. The DH rule is probably the most complicated part of dealing with a lineup card, and we're going to show a little video here in just a minute. But before I show the video, does anybody have anything else specific to managing your lineup cards and such that you'd like to ask?
Hey Rick, I got a question.
Yeah, Mike.
Hey, so we can add subs as they come in, they're late driving or whatever.
Yeah.
But at that plate meeting, we should have 9 starters, correct?
Yep.
And we also, if there are subs on the field but not listed on the lineup card, we should have those subs on the lineup card.
Right. Anybody who's there present at that moment should be on the lineup card. Yes. Yes.
But
Anybody else?
if they're not, we don't hold them up, right? We give the coach the lineup card and ask him to add them and get it back to us as quickly as
Yeah,
possible.
I suppose. I mean, if you want to count players, I mean, you never know. I mean, they're going to give them to you. You're going to ask make sure everybody is on here that's going to play today, and they'll say yes. And you say, okay. And then all of a sudden, the second inning, he comes to you and says, oh my God, I can't believe it. I forgot to write Billy in. Billy's here, and I forgot to put him on the card. Okay, we'll just add him.
Sign up for the Zoom tomorrow for Elon's
So,
residential life.
okay, Gary, do you want the DH rule? We're gonna play. Can you play that now, Gary?
Yep,
You got
I'll
that
add
queued
to
up?
Yep, hold on, give me a second here.
Okay.
Let's tackle one of the trickiest and most intimidating rules in high school baseball, the designated hitter. Whether you're a seasoned umpire or just starting out, understanding this rule inside and out is critical for managing games smoothly. This is especially true when it comes to the relatively new player DH version of the rule, which trips up not only umpires but coaches. So in this video, we'll break down the rules step by step with real examples, practical tips, and tools you need to handle lineup cards like a pro. And if you want to follow along at home with your own copies of the lineup cards, you can find a link to download the PDF in the video description. Hi everyone, I'm Patrick Farber with GHSA Baseball Umpire Development and Umpire Classroom, where we help umpires develop their knowledge and skills. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and if you want to support Umpire Classroom and look smart off the field, check out the gear at store.umpireclassroom.com. To start, let's recap the designated hitter rule. We'll go a few lines at a time to break it down and help clarify the rule. NFHS Rule 3-1-4.
Apparently you can go from 0 to a complete site in just a single prompt with Wix Harmony. I don't know if this is going to be possible. Or Vibe.
A hitter may be, not mandatory, designated for any one starting player, not just pitchers, and all subsequent substitutes for that player in the game. Like at other levels of the game, the use of the designated hitter is optional. However, unlike at those other levels, high school rules allow you to have the designated hitter batting for any defensive position, not just the pitcher. And this leads to the second part of the sentence that is often missed by umpires and coaches. The DH bats for all subsequent substitutes for that player in the game. The key here is that a DH bats for a specific player, not a specific position. Let's look at an example with a team using a traditional DH. In this lineup, Varnson is the DH, batting for the starting pitcher Abbott. If, in the second inning, Abbott goes to right field and Peterman comes into pitch, this does not affect the lineup or the designated hitter. Varnson remains the DH and is still batting for Abbott. Then, if Newman later enters for Abbott on defense, Varnson remains in the game, batting for Newman. A designated hitter for said player shall be selected prior to the start of the game, and the player's name shall be included on the lineup cards presented to the umpire-in-chief and to the official scorer. A team forfeits the use of a designated hitter if it fails to declare a designated hitter prior to the game. Simply put, a team has to declare they are using a designated hitter at the plate meeting when they exchange lineups. This is why umpires should always confirm at the plate meeting if a team is using a DH and who the DH is batting for. Preventative officiating clarifies this at the plate meeting to avoid mistakes or confusion later in the game. If a pinch hitter or pinch runner for the designated hitter is used, that player becomes the new designated hitter. So this sentence is incorrectly placed and will have to be addressed as an editorial change for 2026. Yes, this is true when a team uses a 10th player as the traditional DH. When using the original DH rule, any substitute for the DH offensively would remain the DH. However, this is not the case when using the player DH, and that is supported by Casebook Plays 3.1.4 situation H and I. You need to know that if an offensive substitute enters the game for a player DH, then the DH is removed from the game. Continued. The player who was the designated hitter may re-enter as the designated hitter under the re-entry rule. Just like any other starter, the designated hitter has the ability to re-enter the game. A designated hitter and the player for whom the designated hitter is batting are locked into the batting order. No multiple substitutions may be made that will alter the batting rotation. This is the key to understanding lineup card management and substitutions. A player can never move their position in the batting order. No amount of substitutions or position changes can legally change where someone fits in the lineup. After this, the rule splits into subarticles A and B, which cover the traditional DH and the player DH respectively. The traditional DH is covered first and is relatively easy to comprehend, 3-1-4A. The designated hitter may be a 10th starter hitting for any one of the 9 starting defensive players. If the designated hitter is used in this manner, the role of the DH is terminated for the remainder of the game when 1. The defensive player or any previous defensive player for whom the designated hitter batted subsequently bats, pinch hits, or pinch runs for the designated hitter. Or 2. The designated hitter or any previous designated hitter assumes a defensive position. We won't spend too much time on this because it's relatively simple. The key is if the designated hitter enters on defense, the role of the DH is terminated. And if the player the DH is batting for ends up batting, they'll have to do so in the DH spot, and this will terminate the designated hitter. So now that we've covered the easier version, let's jump into the more complex version, the player DH. 3-1-4B. The starting designated hitter may be any one of the starting defensive players. In this manner, the starting defensive player has 2 positions, the defensive player and the designated hitter. At other levels, this is called the pitcher DH and was implemented so that stars like Shohei Ohtani can open a game as the starting pitcher but then remain in the game offensively when he gets pulled from the mound. The difference at the high school level is that this can be used for any position, not just the pitcher. And the end of this rule draws attention to the best way to think of a player DH. Think of the player as 2 different players, the offensive player and the defensive player. The easiest way to do this is to separate the position on your lineup card. So in this example with Shohei Ohtani listed as the player DH, I separate the defensive player and place him at the bottom of my lineup card. This way, if a defensive player enters for him, I can track that on my lineup card while leaving his position in the batting order unaffected. The rule then continues. The role of the defensive player may be substituted for by any legal substitute. If the defensive player has been substituted for, the original player DH may re-enter 1 time. So let's look at an example. Shohei is our starting player DH, and in the 3rd inning, he comes out of the game defensively and Barnson enters as the pitcher. Then, let's say Barnson moves to third base and Sacramento moves to the mound. Shohei still has the ability to enter the game.
I tried a ton of AI work tools. Then I tried Monday.com. Game over.
But he can only come in for Barnson. Remember, he comes in for the player, not the position. The rule continues, the role of the DH is terminated for the remainder of the game when 1. A substitute or former substitute for the defensive role subsequently participates in an offensive role, or the starting defensive player DH is substituted for either as a hitter or a runner. So if a defensive substitute like Barnson wants to enter the game offensively, they would have to replace Ohtani ending the DH. Also, if an offensive substitute enters as a hitter or runner, that would also remove the DH. This is clarified in multiple case plays, but a great example would be if Ohtani hurts his glove hand sliding into a base. If they bring in a runner for him, that would take him out both offensively and defensively. He could still re-enter, but that would be as a regular player, and there is no longer a designated hitter. On this note, and before getting into our play review, you need to note that the player DH, regardless of what position they are in defensively, is not allowed to have a courtesy runner. This is because if we treat the player as two separate players, we obviously wouldn't allow a courtesy runner for a designated hitter. So if Shohei reaches base, he is not allowed to have a courtesy runner even though he is pitching as well. This is supported in the casebook in CR 18 and 19. So now that we've reviewed the rules, we're going to jump into the case plays. And again, if you want to participate with me in this, you can get the accompanying PDF in the video description. Case play number 1. This game is being played with the option for teams to use courtesy runners. Shohei Ohtani is the pitcher and designated hitter, player DH. In the top of the first inning, he hits a single. Can Leo Lesser, who has not yet entered the game, be used as a courtesy runner for Shohei Ohtani? The correct answer here is no. Remember, when we have a player DH, we should always split that player into two on the lineup card. We should have the offensive player and the defensive player. And when we do that, it's pretty clear that the DH gets treated like a traditional DH, which is an offensive-only player, and thus is not available to have a courtesy runner. Now, what you need to be aware of as an umpire is that a lot of coaches do not understand this part of the rule, and a lot of them don't even read the casebook. So you as the umpire always need to keep an eye out for this and try to make the coach understand that he can do a substitution, but he can't use a courtesy runner for a player DH. Case plays number 2 and 3. Use play 1 answers and start with the lineup card above. The following substitutions occur throughout the game in the order given. Unless mentioned, players do not swap positions. 1. Number 15 enters for number 40 on offense. 2. Number 12 enters for number 2 on defense. In the 5th inning, Pennypacker strikes out for the first out of the inning. Who is the next batter, and which lineup card is correct? So let's work through the changes on our own copy of the lineup card, and then we'll answer both questions. First thing is going to be 15 entering for 40 on offense. That's pretty simple because 40 is just a regular player. Next, we have 12 entering for 2 on defense, and this is the most common way that a player DH is going to be used, especially at the higher levels. Number 2, Shohei Ohtani, is our player DH and the pitcher, so they're bringing him out of the game defensively, hit his number of pitches, wasn't pitching well, whatever, and then they're putting in a relief pitcher in his spot defensively. But when we do that, that doesn't affect the offensive role of the designated hitter. So Shohei Ohtani still remains in the lineup. There's no change to his position as the DH. So when Pennypacker is the first out in the inning, the next batter to come after him is still the designated hitter, Shohei Ohtani, number 2. And then when we look at the lineup card options that we were given, the correct answer is going to be B. And the mistake that most people made is either they made the change to the offensive role instead of the defensive role, or they thought that this burned the player DH and we got rid of the DH altogether. Neither of those is the case. We brought in a new defensive player, but Shohei still remains the designated hitter. Case play number 4. Use play 2 answers and start with the lineup card above. The following substitutions occur throughout the game in the order given. Unless mentioned, players do not swap positions. First, in the bottom of the 3rd inning, Ohtani hits a single to left field. After that, Davola enters as a courtesy runner for Ohtani. After the half inning, Ohtani comes back out on defense to pitch. The coach of the opposing team brings to the umpire's attention that a courtesy runner was not allowed, and Davola was actually a substitute. The manager confirms he wants Ohtani to pitch the 4th inning. Which lineup card is correct? So this goes back to the most likely mistake that you're going to see coaches making when it comes to the player DH. A lot of coaches don't realize that they cannot use a courtesy runner for a player DH that is pitching or catching. Remember, we have to think of the player DH as 2 separate roles, and a designated hitter does not qualify for a courtesy runner.
You know what's hard to beat? That good feeling of getting what you want without breaking the budget.
So in this scenario, Davola entered as a substitute, not a courtesy runner. And that means that we no longer have the DH and the player. Instead, they're merged back into just one player because we removed the offensive player DH. So this means that Davola was a substitute into the game for Ohtani, and Ohtani's now just completely out of the game. That said, Ohtani is a starting player and does have the ability to re-enter. So the coach has the option for Ohtani to re-enter the game and take Davola permanently out of the game. So in this example, it ends up being pretty easy. Davola goes in for Ohtani on offense, which takes Ohtani out on defense as well. And then after the half inning, Ohtani comes back into his position, taking Davola out of the game. Case play number 5. Use play 3 answers and start with the lineup card above. The following substitutions occur throughout the game in the given order. Unless mentioned, players do not swap positions. In the 3rd inning, Newman replaces Ohtani as pitcher. The following all happens as Improv goes on defense in the 6th inning. Banya comes into pitch, Newman goes to 3rd, Sacamano goes to left field, Varnson comes into 2nd, and Putty is removed. Which lineup card is correct? Now, this ended up being the most missed question on the quiz, with only 38% of people getting this question correct. So, let's take a look at it really in depth and break it down. First of all, we have Newman replacing Ohtani as the pitcher. And again, Ohtani is the player DH, so he's going in defensively, but that leaves Ohtani in the game offensively. So the only change we make here is at the very bottom of our lineup card, where we bring in the defensive player. Now, in the 6th inning, we're going to have a lot of defensive changes, but you should note that there really weren't a lot of substitutions. All that happens is that Varnson comes into the game and Putty is removed from the game. A lot of times, coaches are going to report to you the changing of defensive positions, and sometimes they'll lead off with that, and then you'll find out like halfway through their explanation that the changes they've given you so far aren't relevant to the lineup card. That's going to happen with coaches. Remember, what you need to look for is who's coming into the game and who's coming out. So long as there's only one person in and one person out, there's only one place that the new player can go into the lineup, and it's wherever the player going out was. And probably the other part of the confusion is that you need to remember that the player DH is batting for a specific player on defense, not for a specific position. So Shohei Ohtani, our player DH, who is now just the DH, he's not batting for just whoever the pitcher is. He's batting for the player that replaced him defensively, which is Newman. So even if Newman goes to a different position other than pitcher, that doesn't make a difference. The new pitcher still has to hit. For Ohtani, his role is still as the designated hitter batting for Newman. Case plays number 6 and 7. Use play 4 answers and start with the lineup card above. The following substitutions occur throughout the game in the order given. Unless mentioned, players do not swap positions. First, in the 3rd inning, Watley comes in to bat for Ohtani. Later, in the next half inning, Costanza comes in to pitch. Later, Ohtani re-enters to play right field, Peterman moves to pitch, Costanza leaves the field. Which lineup card is correct, and who is the current DH? So working through this problem, first thing we have is Watley coming in for Ohtani offensively. Remember, the player DH, once you substitute offensively for the player DH is burned. It just becomes one regular player. So if we bring Ohtani out offensively for any reason, since he's the player DH, as soon as that happens, the player DH is gone. So Watley goes into this position here, but that also removes Ohtani's defensive-only position. So again, we're now back to a traditional 9-person lineup. Then in the next half inning, when Costanza comes into pitch, that is going to replace Watley, and then Costanza is just in that spot in the lineup. But remember, Shohei's entirely gone, and now so is Watley. And finally, if Ohtani is going to re-enter, he has to re-enter in the same spot in the lineup he was in originally. Remember, this goes back to, you can never change where someone hits in the lineup, no matter how many substitutions or changes are made. So Ohtani has to go back in his original position in the lineup, removing Costanza from the game. This means the correct answer will be lineup card B, and it also means that we no longer have a DH, so there is no DH in the lineup anymore. So there you have it, our review of the designated hitter and player DH rule in high school baseball. If you found this video helpful, be sure to subscribe to our channel and check out the merch at store.umpireclassroom.com. As always, thank you.
Okay.
Where was Elaine Bennis that day? If I don't know if you guys caught on, that was he must really like Seinfeld. So, okay, guys. So that again, you're gonna find that on the website, so you can go back and review that, pause it, write stuff down, learn it, try to learn it the best you can, so that you're knowledgeable when you come to the field and they ask you, you actually know it the best. So that's always the best to do that. So we'll continue. Well, let me continue on some points that I want to make, and then we'll go over the last thing we'll do is we'll go over post-game and pre-game and post-game at the same time so that we can kind of understand what's expected in pre-game and then what's expected in post-game. So I'd like everyone to get in the habit of when you ask for baseballs, you say please, and when someone brings them to you, you say thank you. I think it's very, very important that we're representing all of us out there. We're all partners, so we want to all portray to them that we're happy to be there and we're very respectful, and that goes a long ways with them for sure. Them meaning the coaches and players. When you get those baseballs and you look at them and they're not, and you just determine that they're not NFHS baseballs, which they're required to be playing with, it's not stamped certified NFHS, play the game, but just let me know that that school did not provide you with the proper baseballs that day, and I will take it from there to make sure that that gets corrected. Don't make an issue of it. You don't even have to say anything to anybody. I mean, there's no conversation really to be had. Just let me know, and I will let the NHIAA know to let the school correct
So
that.
you shouldn't check if they just happen to give us the wrong balls. Oh, do you have NFH certified balls? Should we do that or not?
Yeah, sure. If you feel like there's a chance that they might have some, sure, absolutely. You get them and you say, "Do you have NFHS balls?" And they say, "Oh, yeah, I guess that could happen."
Yeah.
But if they say no, you say, "Okay, we can just play with these today." Yep. One of the things you can set the tone when you're with, again, a lot of this stuff I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir, but when they start throwing warm-up pitches, introduce yourself to the catcher. Let the catcher know, you're on his side and you want to basically be friends with him today. You want to have a good working relationship with him today. So introduce yourself to the catcher, watch the warm-up pitches, and that gives you an opportunity to interact with the catcher at the same time. He may offer you some things about the pitcher and what he does and doesn't do or whatnot, and just say, okay, thank you, and just that's a good way to start the game, getting to know your catcher.
Rick, can I jump
Yeah,
into
go ahead,
something?
Gary.
So during the warm-ups, it's really important, especially the first couple of weeks of the season, because these kids are coming off of playing who knows what rule book they're playing by in terms of the windup. So we caught at our cage session the last couple of weeks, we've caught a kid from Halls Brookline pitching illegally. His feet were not correct. So if you see a kid that's not correct, fix it. Fix it. Don't wait till the warm-up's all over and then bring the coach out. As soon as you see it, go out to the mound and fix it. Don't wait. We should not be fixing the stuff in middle of May. This should all be fixed hopefully by the first week of the season. So, yeah.
And that right there, the point Gary makes there is that's about being a better partner, right? So if we see something, we can fix it, address it. It helps your partners the next game that they have. They hopefully won't have to address it also. So that's good. Yeah, and get it fixed before we start. Be proactive so you don't have to call legal pitches. Let them know what you're looking for. That's good. Thanks, Gary. So they stay near the plate area after, you watch a few warm-up pitches, stay near the plate area, and when there's the last warm-up pitch is going to be thrown, just let the on-deck batter know. You say, hey, they got one more pitch. Got one more pitch. Let's get ready. And try to get him understanding that it's about showtime for him. And he needs to start making his way to the plate. So you can keep your game flowing and keep it moving, okay? If you're always in between innings all the time, stay in that plate area. Your presence there in the plate area will keep everybody doing what they're supposed to be doing and not goofing off and laughing and saying stupid things and getting distracted from what they're supposed to be there for and playing baseball. So stay present in that area all the time, okay? And if somebody needs to speak to you about something, the coach or whatever, they need to come to you. You don't go to them. Say, and don't have a long distance conversation with them. That's not any good either. Just have them come out. Say, Coach, you come on out. We can talk. Sure, yeah, come on out. We'll talk about it. And they can come out and you can have a conversation. If you wind up going to now all of a sudden you're not only just talking to the head coach, thinks he knows something, and now you're having a conversation 3-on-1. No, make the coach come out to you, and that's 1-on-1. That's it. There's nobody else who's going to get in trouble by saying anything stupid or anything like that. You're getting them away. You just have the conversation with the coach. That's just really good policy, and it'll save you a lot of headaches. So you let the on deck batter last one, and then he comes up. They throw down, get around. Now, please, guys, if you could please work with me, I will let I I don't have a problem if it's the first inning and the catcher wants to go out and they all want to do a huddle around the mound and do a rah 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 boom. When that catcher comes back, you say to him, that's the last one of those today. We're not going to do this every half inning. There are rules in place that they have to be ready to play. By them going out there and doing that, they're way over their time limit. They don't have the time to do that. So just say to them, listen, we have time constraints, so you can't be doing that every half inning. So that's the one time. No more of that. And just make it clear to him. And if you set them up for that at the beginning when he comes back and say, hey, Billy, no more of that in between innings, okay? I'll let you do it once and that's it, okay? They not 99% of the time, they're fine. They say, okay, yep, no problem. Yep. So work with them on that. And again, that's about being a good partner, setting that tone. We're going to play baseball and we're moving the game along and we've got a good flow to the game and pace of play. And if everybody does their part to do that, these kids are going to start picking the pace up. They're going to understand what it's supposed to look like and what it's supposed to be. And we can all help each other by making sure these little things are taken care of in the game. Again, when they bring baseballs to you, they bring baseballs to you. Okay. you don't go get baseballs in the dugout. You don't go to the dugout. They bring them to you. So you ask for baseballs, you tell them how many you need, and somebody should bring them out to you. Um, no longer, okay. Just a couple other things I want to touch on. During the game, okay, so in the past, prior to this player meeting rule that we have now, one player meeting, that's going to eliminate some of our habits that we've used in the past. No longer can you use a catcher or a player to communicate to the pitcher. You can't send him to the mound to communicate to the pitcher if he's doing something that he needs to, you want to help him out a little bit to keep from calling a balk or something like that. Or if he's giving you the googly eyes, you can't send the catcher out and say, go tell him to knock it off. You can't do that anymore because that's a player-to-player meeting, and that's going to be their charged meeting. So you can't use that tool any longer to do that. I know that's going to be difficult now, a little more difficult. Some suggestions that I would say, if the pitcher's giving you googly eyes, you know what? There's been theories for a while now that say just you take care of it as the umpire anyways. Don't get the catcher in the middle of it. What if he says no? I don't want to go talk to him. Now what are you going to do, right? So if he's giving you googly eye or whatever, just walk a baseball out there and say, hey, I've seen enough. I'm going to call the pitches today. You're going to throw the pitches today, and that's how it's going to be. Okay, so I don't want to see any more of that, and blah blah blah. And am I clear? And they'll say yeah, yeah, and boom, it's over, right? Now, as far as we use a lot of times, I know a lot of guys utilize, say, a shortstop or second baseman to run in and talk to the pitcher about because he's not coming to a set. So you think, yeah, okay, he's not really coming to a set. Let's just correct this on the down low and get him to come set so we don't have to enforce a balk. Well, now my suggestion would be instead, if you feel, and this is very important language you've got to use now, is that you don't want to say, hey, you're not stopping, make sure you stop. You can't say that because that's notifying everybody that you've allowed a balk to happen that you didn't call. Okay. So don't say something like that to the pitcher. But what instead might be a good thing to say is, hey, pitch, you're borderline. You're making this tough on me. You're very borderline on your stop. Make sure you're coming to a stop and don't make me have to call a balk on you. Okay. So you're borderline right now. So it's coming, but just don't make it happen. Do me a better stop because you're very borderline right now. If you use that very borderline right now or borderline, you haven't declared that you've allowed a balk to happen. You're just telling them that you're kind of in that gray area and we need to clean it up so we're not calling a balk on you. I think that's appropriate. That's good preventative officiating, and it doesn't exacerbate a situation by saying you haven't called a balk when the balk has happened and you're not admitting anything. So I would use that language. So the same thing goes for years. You get a foul ball and it hits you, and the catcher and the coach says, "Hey, go out to the mound, Billy, to give the umpire some time." Well, it's not real good practice to let that kid go there. Because what's going to happen is he's going to go there, and then he's going to come back, and the opposite coach now has some ammunition to say, "Oh, great, you get hit with a foul ball, and then they get a free player meeting." I mean, they need to be charged with a player meeting. Just because you get hit with a foul ball doesn't give a free meeting. He's right. It's a good point. So if that happens, the catcher starts to go to give you say no, Billy, come back. You don't need to go there to give me time. I'll take the time for a minute, but you don't need to go out there. And if he asks why, you say, because you'll be charged with a player meeting, and I don't want to charge you with a player meeting because I got hit with a baseball. So thank you, but you just don't go out there. So that'll save you a lot of heartache and tough conversations. It's going to happen. I'm telling you, it's going to happen because that's something that's been happening forever in baseball that the coaches want the catchers to show the umpire respect by going out to give him a minute, just like we do when we brush off the plate after a catcher's gotten hit. We
Hey,
can
Rick.
still do that, and that's great.
Hey, Rick.
But that other interaction can't happen. Yes.
Hey, Rick.
Yeah.
Rick, has that been conveyed to the coaches?
No, I haven't really conveyed that to the coaches yet. No, I don't think so.
That would help. Because they're the ones that send the catcher out there.
Exactly. And I just need you guys to be prepared to not let the catcher go out there. That's all. But yeah, I can definitely make a note on that, Gordy.
So if I'm the base umpire, right, my plate umpire goes down, takes one, I don't know, off the shoulder or whatever, and goes down on one knee or something. As the base umpire, I would have been calling time to give my partner a breather.
Right.
Is that not what you want us doing now?
Oh no, you can.
Once you call time, does that not allow then the meeting to occur without a counter?
No. Any player to player meeting, right?
Even during dead ball with time called?
Yeah. They're getting together as player to player meeting. So it'd be the same as if there's a foul ball and doesn't hit anybody or anything, just a foul ball.
Yeah.
It's a dead ball. That doesn't give the right for the catcher to go out and talk to the pitcher now. Right?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I understand now. It's
Yeah. Now, there can be interpretation that somebody's hurt, so therefore you don't have meetings when somebody's hurt. I just think it's best practice not to even go down that road and have to have that conversation. If you can just avoid that from happening, it'll be a lot easier than having to kind of fix it after the fact. That's all.
Everybody take a foul ball like a man.
Oh,
Take it like a man.
I'll show you how to do it.
Who's that? Steve Doobie? He takes it like a man when the catcher doesn't
I'll
catch
say
it.
that, but I've been hit by my fair share.
Well, what if it's a bat? Then you have to take that like a man? Just saying.
All right. So any questions so far? No, I know this can be dry, and like I said, I'm preaching to the choir and a lot of stuff, but I want to make sure everybody is on the same page. Okay, so now let's talk about what a good pregame would be. Okay, hopefully you guys will get there 30 minutes prior to the game. You'll know where you're going to park and where you're meeting your partner and whatnot, and you get there and greetings, how's the family? Good, okay, good. Okay, so now you're starting to pregame, and you're going through just the basics. You want to make sure we're going over what signals we're going to use today, the basic rotations, okay? That you have fair foul, the plate guy has fair foul up to the bag, and the base guy has it the bag and beyond when he's in A. Check swings, you want to give him what you got, kind of thing. These are all just some examples that I brainstormed. The V principle, fly those. That's something you can go over. Now, one thing that's important to me. Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Hey, on that, last year we talked about, maybe this is only in 3-man, so you tell me. We talked about switching that from the front of the bag to the cutout. Are we going with that this year or no?
No, I would not recommend that. I would say stick with the bag. The cutout's too arbitrary. The bag is more definitive. It just seems to make more sense to go to the bag. Now, keeping in mind though that every once in a while you'll have a ball that's going to go down, and it's gonna somebody's going to block the person who's supposed to be making that call. Okay, so it might get screened, whatever, one way or another. You just have to make eye contact and know that situation. you may wind up having to back up your partner on that call based on where the players went, and they might have blocked the view of the guy who's supposed to make that call. It's not a hard, fast rule, but it's just a guideline.
Thanks.
So the V principle, okay, we all know the V principle, and I think this is very important when you're doing your pregame. The plate person should make it very clear to the base guy that if the ball is hit to the right at the right or left fielder, okay, so it's going right towards the right or left fielder, that they make the decision fairly quickly on who if they're going to take the ball. Let's put it that way. Because the worst feeling in the world is when a ball goes out and you're in the middle and you're unsure whether or not you're taking this fly ball or is he going to take this fly ball because it's right on the edge. It's in the gray area. So you kind of like there's a lot of angst there. You're kind of, oh, what's going to happen now? And the kid makes a diving play, and now you're like, am I calling this? Is the plate guy calling this? I think it's very important that you as the plate guy declare it when it's on that gray area and there could be any kind of indecision on whose it is. Just say, I got the ball. Just take it. Then we know who's got the ball. And now and that can allow the base guy to relax and doesn't have to. So the plate guy has it all right in front of him. He knows exactly, and he can take the ball and just get rid of all the mystery out of it. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Yeah. So, fly ball. Okay, A. Let's talk about A, fly ball coverages. This is something you should talk about in your pregame. So when you're in A, the manual, and we're going by the manual. We're not making any exceptions here. The manual says you can have center field all the way to the right field line. That's what the manual says. Now, if there's a conversion fielder situation where they're coming in and there's that triangle situation where the second baseman's going back, right fielder's coming in, center fielder's coming in, that's one, yes, you're going to want to go out on that. And that's why it's center fielder to the right field. Do you want to go out on a ball that's a gapper, that's a high fly ball to right field, that the right fielder is going to maybe take a catch on, but he's running away from you? You have no angle. You're just going to see his back. So that's probably not one you really do want to go out on. Just defer that one to your plate umpire. Anything from the right fielder to the line, they're running with their glove where you can see it, and it's going to be a fair foul, catch, no catch. That's one you do want to go out on, okay? So the reason why it's center fielder to the right field line is because there are some instances where you do want to go out on that one, but not all of them. Not all of them. Just talk about it with your partner on which ones he should expect you to go out on, which ones he shouldn't. And it really should be easy enough for the plate umpire anyhow, because as soon as that ball gets hit up into that area, he's coming out and he's working his way towards first base, between the mound and first base. And if the base guy goes, he's taking the runner. If the base guy doesn't go and comes in, he can just kind of relax and be an extra set of eyes. But he's ready to go. So no harm, no foul. If the guy goes or not, the plate umpire should be ready to take the runner anyway. So that's what I'd like you to have as a pregame is defining when you're going to go out and when you're not, and that'll be good.
Shouldn't the guy in A only go out on a trouble ball?
Right. We're not going out on just normal fly balls. It's only trouble balls. That's correct.
Right. A routine or
routine, no.
Double in the gap, he's not going out.
No. Just if there's converging fielders, that's a trouble ball. And when I say converging, it means like not going backwards converging, because that's kind of you're gonna have the right fielder's back to you, and that's kind of tough. That's better for the plate guy to take. But if it's that triangle area, you want to probably go out on that for that trap. Okay. All right. Anything else anybody has as far as ideas on a pregame that I might have missed that you feel might be important?
Took me a minute to sign in, Rick, but are we making calls or texts to our partner the day before?
Yeah,
Talking about where we're going to meet.
Right. So I
what
request that you
uniform, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I'm requesting that you reach out to the schools a couple days before via email and just to verify, give them an opportunity to get back to you to verify the game. But then the day before the game, send them a text or call them or whatnot, and figure out where you're going to meet, where in the parking lot you're going to meet, what cars you drive, that kind of thing, so you can find each other.
Okay.
And then if there's weather during the day of the game, make sure you keep in contact with one another. And if you're the plate guy, you're going to contact the school to make sure the game's still going to be on.
Let me just add a couple things as put my signer hat on for a second. Just because it says on the arbiter, that is not 100% correct. We try our best to make sure it's 100% correct, but it's still your job to make sure it gets corrected. So that's why it's important to reach out to the 80. Don't do it the day of. They're running around with their heads cut off. Do it 3-4 days. When you get that email reminder that you have the game, perfect time because they're getting the same thing. It's set for a certain time, so it's usually 3 days prior. Perfect. Forward the email to them. Put your partner on it. Just say
exactly
along the lines of, "Is this correct? 4 o'clock pit for game time. We're at this field." Because especially with the JV, who knows where some of the JV games are going to be played, especially at the Division I level. They don't play obviously on the same field varsity. Confirmed time. Time can change. They might get information the bus is going to be late. I don't want to be there any longer than I have to, but obviously I want to be there half an hour before the game. If the game's at 4 o'clock, I'm going to try to get there at 3:30. But if the game's actually at 4:30, now I'm sitting around a little bit too long. So do your job as the plate guy. Reach out to the school, confirm all that stuff, put your partner on it. It's pretty simple. And if the AD comes back with something different, communicate that to the regional signer so we can update it on the arbiter as well. Especially with day of game, weather related type stuff, schools are going to make that decision at noontime. All right. They're not going to send a bus, especially early in the year. They're going to probably bag it. Late in the year, they're going to give it a shot because their window is short. So always think that you're going to play until you hear otherwise. Don't assume the game's canceled, even if it's a downpour in your town. You don't know what's going on in their town. All right. Go until you hear different. All right. Whether it be an arbiter, cancellation, school reaches out to you. If you've got a varsity game and it gets moved to a date that you already have another game that's a lower level game, obviously we will work to make it so you keep that varsity game. Don't get all in a panic that you're going to lose that varsity game. If you've got a varsity game, you're going to stay with that varsity game. Okay, and we'll find somebody else for that other varsity game. If you see a mileage that's not correct, arbiter can be finky sometimes. Just communicate to me that the game fee is not correct. I don't take offense to it. I will correct it and make sure because you don't want to be paid any less than what you're supposed to. So keep an eye on the game fees. Arbiter has a funny way of changing things without me doing anything to it. So
Gary, do you want those mileage corrections to go to you or our signer?
Yes, send them to me. Send them, and if you could put the game number because I can do a search real and look to see why is it incorrect.
Okay, so go to you, not our regional assigner.
Don't go to the regional signers. They got too much stuff on their plate. That's why they pay me the big bucks to do all that stuff.
All right. Got it.
And guys, please do not bring any of your belly aches or complaints or whatever might have happened to you with the arbiter and the time and this, that, and the other thing to the coaches and the plate meeting. Please don't do that. Don't start your day off that way. It's not 99.9% of the time, it's not their fault. That they're probably is just as inconvenienced by whatever went on as you were. So don't bring it up with them. Just that's just not good practice.
And the other thing is, if a school arrives late, that's not the coach's fault. It's not the player's fault. I know, yes, I want to start a game exactly on time. But if they're 5 minutes late and they need a little extra warm up time, be reasonable with them, give them the time that they need. Stuff happens. Stuff happens. We just got to deal with it and just go with it. It's about the kids. It's not about Gary Noyes. It's not about Rick Forth. It's about the kids. We're doing it for the kids. So
because also remember, there's going to come a day, whether you realize it or not, you're going to have a flat tire on the way to the game. You're going to have to make that uncomfortable call that you're going to be late, and the game's going to start 10 or 15 minutes late. That's just it was out of your control. So understand that sometimes things are just out of their control as well. And if you have any frustrations that are more major than that, as far as what went on that day, call me, talk to me. We'll get through it. And if it's egregious, I will definitely address it. Don't worry. I'm not against having difficult conversations with people. I can do that. I would rather I do that than you guys try to do that. Just let me know and I'll deal with it. So, okay. So, and Gary, the one point Gary made, and it's the easiest way if you guys aren't utilizing that, when you get that game notice, click forward, and in the game notice is the email of the person who also got it. Just email them and say, "Is this all correct? Please confirm that this is all correct." Bam. It's the easiest way to get it confirmed. It's got all the information there already pre-printed or pre-electronic.
Yeah, I've already sent my email to all the athletic directors in HIA saying, please confirm your schedules. And I know there are a few that were wrong, and it was crickets. So they don't do a good job of checking. They'll check it 5 minutes before the game when the officials aren't showing up. That's when they check it. So be proactive. Worst thing you want to do is arrive to an empty field. The worst thing you want to do is arrive and they're all looking at you like, where are you? Type thing, or arriving way too early for the game. So
now the last thing I want to touch on real quick, because we really can't get too much into it because you're never going to really know what's going to happen in your games. But post game is super important. Okay. That's when you get off the field, you come back to the car and you say, how did we feel about that today? How do we think that went today? What happened that we could have done better? Okay. Ask if you're the base guy and you aren't particularly, not thrilled is the wrong word, but you don't feel like that your plate guy had the best game. Don't say, "Hey, what was wrong with you today?" Say, "Hey, how'd you feel about your game today? How'd you feel? How did?" Because you know what? He's gonna know that he didn't have a great game either. He's going to know that, right? So give him the opportunity to say to you, "Yeah, my outside corner wasn't real good today," or I was slow rotating up to third," or whatever it might be. Let him tell you. You don't need to tell him. He already probably knows. But it's good to talk about. And then when he says, "Yeah, my bottom of my zone wasn't real good today," say, "Okay, what do you feel like? How do you feel it I could have improved, I can improve on that. How was my head height? Was I in the slot? Work together to talk about what maybe he could do better for the next time." That's a good post game. We got to get over the fact that we want everybody to think we're perfect. We're not. None of us are perfect. We all can take criticism, have criticisms. I mean, we can all have criticisms and we all can be criticized. We all are, none of us are perfect. So let's go into the post game understanding that, and that together we're going to make whoever might have had a bad day that day better for the next day. And there's no shame in it. We're all been down that road. We've all come off the field and thought, oh my God, that was horrible. It's okay. It's what you do with it from this point forward that matters. It doesn't matter anymore. You did the best you could at that time. That you know what? You were bad that day. So what? Who? I mean, we're moving on. You can't just say hell with this. We're moving on. So everybody takes that attitude. Everybody knows, understands that they're not perfect and that there's room for improvement always. I think that takes a lot of the pressure off of feeling like you need to have an explanation for everything or an excuse for everything or whatnot. Just keep an open mind and a good attitude, and we'll learn from it, move on, and everybody gets better as partners. Okay. So you just bring up the unusual plays. That's another thing. Sometimes unusual things happen. Let's talk about this. Maybe you miss something that you say, oh, geez, I really probably missed this because this balk or whatever, and things like that, or unusual plays in any way, and talk about those. And then if you have a super unusual play, keep that in your mind and maybe talk about that super unusual play. Find time to work it into your pregame, the next game, so that your partner for the next game can learn about the unusual play that happened to you in the game before.
Rick,
That's how we all learn.
Rick, I have a question from somebody. They asked, "What's the proper protocol after a game when we have a player or coach DQs during a game?"
Okay, so you have an ejection during the contest. What do you expect? What should they expect to do? Am I getting this right?
Yeah, what's the proper protocol after a game when we have player or coach DQ during a game? So
Okay.
what do you want us? How do you want us to handle it? I
Yeah.
guess
So the umpires come off the field. You had an ejection. Okay. I would say, if y'all can get my phone number into your phones, that's probably the easiest way to just shoot me a text right out after the game. Says, "Hey Rick, I had an ejection. Head coach of Salem, whatever, today," and then I'll give you a call a little later, or you can try to call me first, and if I don't answer, just send me a quick text. So the next time I pick up my phone, I see, oh, you gotta okay, and then I can call you back, and you can give me the events, and that's all you really need to do. I have the form that I'll fill out. I'll get all the information I need, and I'll fill out the form and send it to the NHIAA. I need to be notified as soon as possible. You need to talk to me preferably before 9 o'clock that night about it so that I can get it out right away to who needs to have it, or at least early the next morning so that the school can get notified prior to their next game. If they have a game the next day, they got to know that this kid's not going to be able to play. So that's why it's important we get the information right away.
So also, just jumping on that, piggyback on that, we have also a lot of different levels of baseball within the NHBUA. So how you handle an ejection with a high school is going to be completely different. How you're going to handle like an adult baseball game, a travel baseball game, Cal Ripken game, Babe Ruth game, all that other stuff is going to be handled a little bit differently. Um,
But as far as that notifying after the game, every scenario and everything you do, you can always text me and let me know what happened. If you want to text Gary also and let him know what happened, that's fine with some of the summer ball stuff and the middle school stuff and things like that. That's okay. But you can always let me know all the time and then if it's important for to go to the next level, I have that information, and that's always good to know.
And if a player gets ejected, Rick, you don't want them to leave the confines. You want them in the dugout, right?
Yeah, you can't. You can't. If a player gets ejected during the game, they in a high school game, they need to remain with the team on the bench. Now, if they continue to be a problem, you would then restrict the head coach to the bench. And then hopefully that'll end that and he'll keep the kid under control, because then the next step would be the coach and that player would be ejected. And then because an adult is with him, they can both go somewhere else. But you can't send a kid all by himself away, if that makes sense. You have to have an adult supervision. So if you have a player and a coach both get ejected, you can definitely say, Coach, take the player with you and go sit on the bus or sit in the school or whatever it has to be, because he's under his supervision still. So you can do that. But player only, they have to stay with an adult. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. That's pretty much all I got. Anybody have any questions?
I did have one question. You mentioned the reminder they send that if you reply all to that, it sends to other people. Because when I got the reminders last year, they only went to messaging, and so that would just messaging and arbiters posted.
You wouldn't reply. You wouldn't reply all, Doug. You would forward it to the AD of the school.
That's what I was doing. I was hoping that maybe they were actually sending it to all three, and then we could just do a reply all. But I got it. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I would just forward that notice because it's got all that information in there.
Yep, makes sense.
Anything else, guys? No? All right. Well, thanks again. This recording will be on YouTube in the next couple days, and thanks for your efforts in being here and wanting to be better. I really appreciate that. We're gonna have a good season. Everybody's gonna be very prepared, and I love it. I love it. Kudos to you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rick.
Have a good
Thank you,
night,
Rick.
guys.
Have a good night.